Welcome to the Marriage by Design web show, our weekly show. And so we're so excited to have you here. I would say our weekly Monday show, but actually it's Wednesday.
Wednesday night. Switched it up on you this week.
So, guys, go ahead. We have a hot topic as always. And go ahead, share. And click it out, share. And what else do they need to do? Turn on notifications.
Yeah.
Turn on the notifications. So
invite those specific friends.
Invite the specific friends. They need to hear about this. Why? Because we are talking about
separation
in
marriage, and it's not what you think. It's not exactly what you think. So you want to stay tuned all the way to the end, because it's not exactly probably what you think. But we're going to talk about separation in marriage. I'm excited about the topic.
I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited. Separation in marriage. So go ahead and share it out to your friends that are single, married, dating. Do that right now. Oh, engage, definitely. Courting. All of those. Talking. What else they call it? Kicking it, right?
Kicking it. Netflixing and chilling it.
All of those things. If they have someone.
Cut buddies.
Or not. Oh. Okay. So.
They need to get their life together.
They do. They do.
Friends with benefits.
Okay. Yes. All of those. Go ahead. Keep going.
That's it.
You done. You done. Share those out. Guys, if you have been tuned in to our web show, then you know that we have an event that is coming up on June the 3rd. Mm-hmm. Real Talk.
Yeah.
The Real Talk tour.
That's right. That's why you can't be getting all blushy and embarrassed when I talk about cut buddies.
Yeah, oh my goodness. It's just
it's real talk.
It is real talk.
People got it, out there. So we need to talk about it, and we're going to address all of these type of things.
You don't get embarrassed about anything, do you?
Not much. It's hard to be humiliated when you're so humble, right?
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a phenomenal event. That's our word that's our word of the year. We're going to have like a word.
Yes,
phenomenal. It's a phenomenal event.
Phenomenal.
Something you have to see. But we got a little promo for you.
Yes.
While you tune in, go ahead and start sharing this so we can continue to build the audience. We're going to get into our topic very shortly. Separation in marriage. Again, not exactly what you may think we're going to talk about. It's going to be a fun topic. We're ready for you to chime in, comment, and everything. Matter of fact, go ahead and start, giving us shouts out so we can welcome you on. But in the meantime, in between time, we want to play this promo so you know all about Real Talk. It's going to be very, very exciting, electrifying. We're enthusiastic about it. Every other adjective starts with E. So check. Calling all singles.
Dating.
Engaged.
Married.
Real Talk.
Register now. Marriage by Design presents
Real Talk.
Featuring James Penn
and Yolanda Penn.
Let's talk.
Dating and sex.
Love and marriage.
Calling all singles.
Dating.
Engaged.
Married.
Real Talk.
Register now. So, guys, make sure you go and register right now. Well, not right now.
After the show.
As soon as the show is over. As soon as the show is over, go ahead and register. As you can see right here, we're going to talk about all of those different things. Sex. That's a dove. Dating, love, and marriage.
Right.
We'll be talking about all of those. So make sure you get your seats now. Register now. We do have some upgrades that are available. But right now, guess what? You can get in the door for your 4-letter favorite word, F-R-E-E.
Oh,
free. You can get, that's my E right there. E, free.
Throw it up gang sign.
So make sure you go and do that as soon as the show is over. Yeah. And like we do every week, of course, we have to bring you some personal development.
What's up, Michael? What's up, Javetta? We got some folks jumping on here.
Yes. Hello, hi y'all. Yeah. So make sure, I'm going to let James talk about the book of the week.
Yep.
And you can take it away, honey bun.
All right. Real love. I like this that you can see it. So often we show up the book of the week and you can't even see the title, but you can see it. Real love. This book is by Tony Gaskins. He's a renowned best-selling author, speaker, coach, and been following him for a little while and checking out his material. Has some good content for sure. And this book, Real Love, it's really interesting because it really just goes over the journey of his life. And I appreciate the fact that he is so transparent. He has a journey. He has a story, and it has an arc to it. It has a curve. It's interesting. He is certainly not the person that he was years and years and years ago. And he talks about that. He talks about what he thought love was, even as a child, and how that shaped him into thinking, what love was about. I don't want to give away the book to you, but he had some distorted understandings of love because of his exposure, because of its environment as a child. And in turn, when he was in high school and in college, he manifested what he saw growing up. And it really sent his life down a path, down a road that a lot of people find themselves on, thinking that love hurt them. One of the things Tony Gaston says all the time, he says, love didn't hurt you. Somebody who didn't know how to love hurt you.
That's good.
And so he talks about the process, the journey of discovering real love and his transformation of himself, the transformation even in his wife, their relationship, and it just kind of goes through it. And so it's not your typical personal development self-help book where it's just telling you, do this is how you should handle your relationship, this is how you do things, but you get some of those nuggets just out of hearing his journey and hearing his story. So very very engaging, quick read, definitely very simple to read. But I do want to just go to one aspect of the book that I really think is kind of pertinent to what we're talking about here tonight: separation of marriage, and also it was just powerful. So one of the things he says, what chapter am I in here? This is chapter 7. Actually, no, it's chapter 8. Chapter 8, from pain to purpose. He said, we vow to love ourselves first. By loving ourselves first, we know what we want, what we need, and what we deserve. There's a difference in what you want and what you need. And so we're talking about that a little bit in our topic tonight. If people want certain things out of their mate, and then there are certain things that you need. There are preferences, and there are things that you absolutely need. We're going to talk about that some tonight. But neither of us is afraid to walk away if we are being mistreated, disrespected, or taken for granted. With this knowledge, we both know that we have to give our all and not hold anything back. We're not those type of marriage educators that believe that you have to stay. You never can get divorced. I know if I bump my head and act a fool, she's not going to allow herself, because she loves herself too much to allow me to just go off the deep end. That doesn't mean the first sign of challenge. It doesn't mean the first sign of things not going the way you wanted to go that you're getting divorced. We've talked about that in our show. So don't take it out of context. Don't miss it. But I know my wife would leave, take the kids, and be separated, and give me time to get myself together if I was tripping, and vice versa. And you have to be willing to love yourself in order to have real love for someone else. And putting yourself in a position where you're going to take abuse is not indicative of real love. And in this same chapter right here, he says, all in all, we vow to always grow.
That's good.
This is what we talk about with Marriage by Design. All in all, we vow to always grow, always change for the better, and to never get complacent and let ourselves go. So many couples get complacent, and that's when the problems start. We are working every day to look good and feel good about ourselves for one another. We are committed to the growth, and we despise complacency. So many people get complacent. They get casual about things in life. And one of the things that I always say is, if you get casual, you'll become a casualty. So you don't want to get complacent. You have to always be working on yourself. That's one of the foundational elements of our platform, Marriage by Design, is growing yourself. So that's just an example of some of the great things that in this book, Real Love. So definitely make sure you get it. Welcome onto the show, Seema. I see Seema's tuned in as well. So that's our book of the week. So go ahead and share this out. Go ahead and share this broadcast out. We're going to get into our topic: separation in marriage. Separation in marriage. Oh, and by the way, Real Love, Tony Gass is coming to North Carolina. We have Real Talk on January 3rd. June. January. It starts with J.
It does.
June 3rd. Starts June 3rd. And June 4th, Tony Gaskins will be here as well. So that's pretty cool. We're looking forward to meet him. Welcome on, Joseph. Got Joseph on the show as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're talking about separation and marriage. Now, when people hear that topic, I know you're thinking, okay, when should you separate? What should you tolerate? How do you handle separation? That's not exactly what we're talking about today.
No, definitely not.
We're talking about areas where you can separate from your partner. And there's so many people think that you have to be the same.
Right.
You have to be identical. And then there's some people think, oh, well, opposites attract. Well, there can be some truth in both of those areas, but what are the areas where you need similarities, and what are areas where you can have that separation, where you can have those differences? That's what we want to unpackage and talk about here today. So, of course, chime in, give us feedback, comment, questions if you have any. We definitely want to dialogue with you. But let's go ahead and talk about these some of the differences. Where's some areas where it's okay to be different? Because particularly for any single viewers, if anybody's watching this single, whether it's live or the replay, people are looking for characteristics and traits in different people that they think is a need. Remember we were talking about in the book of the week, wants versus needs. They think that person needs to be the same as them in certain areas.
Right.
And it may not necessarily be the case. You may not necessarily need someone who's the same as you in certain areas. So let's talk about some of those areas. What's some of the areas where differences are okay? Differences are okay.
Right.
What do you guys think? Go ahead and type it in if you want to. We'll keep talking.
Definitely. Well, differences are okay in your interests. You don't have to be the same or identical or similar when you have different interests. Let's take, for example, us in our relationship. James loves scary movies. Like, enjoys them. He likes that spooky feeling. If I watch a scary movie, I will probably sleep on the floor, under the bed, with a gun. So, it's not a good idea.
You're not probably, there's historical evidence. You've done, minus the gun, you have actually.
They don't need to know that.
Well, it's
so, that was a long time ago. So, that's not an interest of mine. I can't physically pursue that. Maybe I could one day, but it just gets in my mind and messes with my thoughts, and James can let that stuff go. I'll think on it for days. And
Javetta, she said music, right? Like that's the area. And this is a good example. I'm glad you said that, Javetta. Like some people might have a passion. They're passionate about music. They're interested in music. Some people, well, I'm interested in music. I'm gonna be a musician. I'm gonna be in music ministry, and they desire for their spouse to have the same interest. Right. That may be a preference, and you may want that, but that's not an area where you can't separate and have separate interests. So many people build their relationships on interests. You like a person, and you know what? Well, I like soccer, and she likes soccer. Right. What are y'all gonna do? Because y'all like soccer together, you're gonna build your marriage and relationship off of that. So interests. The things you have interest in, that's not necessarily an area that you have to have together. Now, with that being said, if your spouse has an interest, it may serve you well in your relationship to take some interest in their interest.
Right. Definitely with that music example like you were talking about. You may not be musically inclined at all. You may not can sing or play an instrument, but you can still support them in whatever that is. Whatever they're doing, singing, going to their shows, or being their support system.
Yeah, I wrestled, and Yolanda, I don't foresee she would have been interested in wrestling whatsoever, but I wrestled. She has a level of interest in wrestling now, not like I do, but she has a level of interest in wrestling now because I'm interested in it. And so part of marriage obviously is doing things that you don't necessarily want to do.
Well, I believe that the interest developed because of my love for you, and it was something that you loved. Right. So I don't necessarily dislike it.
Of course.
But that's how that developed out of that.
Yeah, of course. So interests change.
Yes, they do.
So if you build a relationship off of interest, because where interests change, I don't have the same level of interest in wrestling that I did when I was competing in wrestling. So interests will change. So don't build a relationship off of interest. And it sounds elementary when we talk about it to me, but you see so many people do it. Right. So many people they feel like, well, I'm passionate in this area. This is my purpose. This is my business. This is my calling. And they feel like because that's their interest, that someone else to be compatible for them as a mate has to have an interest in the same area. And that's just not the truth. So another area where people don't necessarily have to have the similarities. You can be separate. You can have a difference in this area.
Right.
Is in personalities. Even in personalities, and when we say personalities, obviously you have personalities and you have some other elements of a human makeup. A personality, we talk about like introvert, extrovert. I'm an introvert. I don't like being around a lot of people, and so I need to be with the introvert, or an extrovert, vice versa.
Right.
Yeah, and that you don't necessarily have to have the same personality for a relationship to thrive.
I agree. Our personalities are a little bit somewhat different. A little bit somewhat different. James is like a chameleon. He can be anyone and be around everyone, and he's good. He's just, wherever he can flow with it. Yeah. I'm learning more about the flow, but I'm like really up here.
She don't like people.
No, don't say that.
I'm just being serious.
Oh,
nah.
Like I'm messing my train of thought up. So, but for me, I'm the type of person, I am that strong go-getter. Let's get it done by any means necessary. Just go and get it. I consider a choleric. For those people that don't know what choleric means, it means that take charge type person. Yeah. And so with James not being some of everything, he definitely is a take charge type person. Our personalities in the beginning were very different. Which
kind of leads to the third point. So, interest, number one, you don't have to have the same interests. You don't have to have the same personalities, whether you're introvert, extrovert, and you don't even have to have the same temperament. When you talk about, being a person who's A-type personality, or a person who's just very loving and giving and caring about other people, sometimes different temperaments don't mesh well, but
right.
Sometimes identical temperaments don't mesh very well either. So these are so many of the things, and I hope we have some single viewers or some viewers, definitely, some replay viewers that are single, to really consider these things, because you're thinking, well, I need somebody that's like me. I'm the life of the party. I need somebody that's the life of the party. Y'all will probably drive each other crazy. You don't need temperaments to match, personalities to match, interests. You don't have to be the same in those areas. You can have some separation. But there are some areas where you do need similarities. There are some areas where you should certainly make sure that you're on the same page. Some people call it equally yoked. Okay? However you want to describe that, there's some areas where it's not a want. See, these are areas where we say these are wants, maybe preference. Maybe you prefer someone that has some similar interests in other areas. You prefer someone with a certain type of personality. But here's some areas where you need to be the same.
Definitely. And that first one is character.
Yes.
You definitely need to have the same character. You don't want to go into a relationship or further on down the road in a marriage and your character is so different than their mates. I could definitely think about couples and people I've known in the past to where that marriage didn't work out because they had a different character.
Yeah, and when we say character, there are different elements of character, right? You could talk about someone's integrity. Okay?
Yeah, integrity.
If you have high integrity and the other person doesn't, you probably should be together, or vice versa.
Right.
Like if you just a rotten, dirty person, and you lie and cheat and steal, you can get married. Just marry somebody else and lie, cheat, steal. Y'all be Bonnie and Clyde together.
That's it.
But if you have bad integrity,
right,
then you don't want to marry somebody else with bad integrity. If you're somebody who's not very diligent, like that speaks to your character. You're not a hard worker. You just like just to
that's good.
Just to lay around. You don't need somebody who's a very go-getter, type of person. Character is something that you definitely gotta look at.
Right, agree.
And another area that is critical that you have some similarity is worldview. Worldview is huge.
Very much so. And it doesn't necessarily, with the worldview, have to be, you have to have the same political beliefs and you have to have the same religion, which we do believe that it is a great idea to do that. But there are couples out there that make it work. And it's overall just on the scheme of their world view. And so two people may be different religions. You may have a Muslim and a Buddhist, and they may make their religion or they may make their marriage work. It's because overall their worldview is the same. Is it that, hey, you know, you go do your thing, I do my thing, that's fine, then that's the same worldview.
Elaborate on that a little bit. I can elaborate on that a little bit from the standpoint of a young lady we just met recently. We just met her over the weekend.
Yes.
We were out and about. This young lady, she's getting married, and her husband is very religious, and she's not. And their worldview, though, isn't going to have really much of a conflict because he feels like it's okay. He's from a different country. This is their worldview. He feels like it's okay for her to not be very religious because he thinks that's the man's role to be very religious. Good. And so their worldview, if that's their worldview, then that's fine. Now, if your worldview is that religion is something very strong for you,
right,
and something that is very important,
right,
then the example of a Buddhist and a Muslim, a Christian, right, and a Jew is not going to work,
right,
if you feel like religion is a focal point of your life and you marry someone who is opposite. So if your worldview is that you're apathetic about religion as an example, then as long as you marry somebody else who's apathetic about religion, it really doesn't matter.
Right.
Same when you talk about politics.
Definitely. Yeah. Like, you can't be a Democratic senator and look at marrying someone that's a Republican senator.
I don't know how that can work.
Right. How can that work?
Houseway.
I knew you was about to say houseway. Yeah. I knew that.
Yeah.
So,
similarities. No, but there are people that don't mean a Democrat and a Republican could be together.
Exactly.
If they both aren't very passionate about politics. If their worldview is that we're not very passionate about politics, then okay, you make it work. But if you are very passionate in your social views, your political views, there needs to be similarity in those worldviews. Political, social, religion, all of those worldviews, there has to be some similarities there. Right. You're going to find yourself running into some problems.
And that's a worldview overall with raising a family and children and different things like that. Yeah. You need to have that as a similarity as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And a third area, final area here that you need to make sure that you have some similarity is in aspirations and understand like what you want your life to end up looking like. So if you have aspirations for you have a lot of ambition, you have a lot of aspirations in life, and you marry someone who their aspirations are totally in a different area. Maybe they're just very wired to just be someone who is all about just giving away everything, and they want to go and do mission work for the rest of their lives. They don't have any desire whatsoever to build anything for themselves or their family. There's nothing wrong with living that type of life.
Right.
But if your aspirations are in contrast to that, you're setting yourself up for some issues.
And even on a lighter level with the aspirations, we've known people to be strong entrepreneurs, go-getters, going after something, and their mate wasn't. And their mate would just stay home and not pursue any goals and watch soap operas and reality TV and all of these different things. And a couple of years later, while the other person was growing and they were pursuing those goals, trying to go out there and win, they grew apart and now they're separated.
I actually have another friend of mine who was talking about this very thing. He's got huge aspirations. He was married, and his wife didn't have aspirations that lined up, and so it caused tension in the marriage because she had an issue with his drive. Wow. She had an issue with him out pursuing something because her aspirations didn't line up. So these are key areas that you got to make sure that, if your character is similar, if your worldview is the same, if your aspirations, line up, you may not have identical interests.
Right.
You may not have identical personalities and temperaments, but you have the foundation.
Correct.
That's similar enough where you can make it. People say to us all the time, you guys are so much alike. Y'all think alike. You knew I was about to say houseway. Everybody, but what they don't understand is we weren't this similar when we met in the peripheral areas.
Right.
But we were similar in our character, in our worldview, and in our aspirations. We were similar in all. And it was by accident. We didn't know this. Nobody taught this to us, but we lucked out, I guess, if you want to call it that we were similar in those areas. And then as we've continued to grow together, some of the peripherals start to line up. The interests start to line up, right? The personalities start to line up a little bit. The temperaments start to line up a little bit because those foundational things were the same.
Right.
So guys, appreciate you all tuning in, but don't go anywhere just yet, because as we wrap our show up, each and every week we like to end with a marriage message of the week, and I did the book of the week, and we usually try to switch it off. So this week is from my lovely bride with our marriage message of the week. So without any further ado, Yolanda Penn, take it away.
Yes. So I am going to speak to the people out there that are dating or courting. This message really is for you. I found so many times that people that are in relationships, whether they're dating, courting, they're out there talking, or whatever it is that people are doing, they stay in relationships way too long after they figure out that there are no similarities. The similarities and differences, like just what we talked about, they're not lining up. So if you're out there and you're dating and you see that the character is different, the aspirations are different, and the worldview is different, run. Did you hear me? I said run. And the reason that you want to is because when you stay in that relationship and you know that those things are different, you're prolonging the pain. You're getting to know that particular person more and more and more, and it's becoming more difficult to detach. And also, for you ladies, if you're still in that relationship, how will you be found? And for you fellas, if you're still in a relationship, how are you going to find that lady? So if you know that, hey, I'm not going to be in this relationship for the long haul, I'm just in it right now for the companionship, go ahead and cut ties, whether you decide, we're going to go our separate ways and be friends, or whatever the case may be, so that you can find the person that you do line up with the similarities that we had talked about. So also to add, ladies, you can't change him. A lot of times women want to say, you know what? Well, he may have different character. He may have different aspirations. But once we get married, he'll change. I can change him. You cannot change someone. Character and aspirations, definitely character. Someone reveals their character to you, trust and believe that is their character, and it will be that. Like my husband says, you always are dating the act, and you're going to marry the react. So make sure that you see those different things and understand that what somebody tells you who they are, that is who they are. So that is our marriage message of the week. Make sure that after the show, you go and get your tickets for the Real Talk Tour coming to you in Greensboro, Saturday, June the 3rd. And we're gonna promo out.
You know what? We'll go ahead and promo out and then wrap up the show between now and the next time that our paths cross. Go out there, design the type of life you deserve for you and your family. We will see you on the journey.
Marriage by Design presents
Real Talk,
featuring James Penn
and Yolanda Penn.
Let's talk
dating and sex,
love and marriage,
calling all singles,
dating,
engaged,
married.
Real Talk.
Register now.